There is a lot of talk about if and when Ash Ketchum will return to the Pokemon anime. Ash has been gone for just over 3 years now. We've all had time to accept his departure and enjoy a new series in Pokemon Horizons, which has had some great moments. But Ash's return still sparks so much discussion and many talking points. When will he return, and will he ever return? For me, the answer is pretty simple. The anime is currently in a weird place, with Pokemon Horizons being extended for a 4th year, which means it's going to be the longest Pokemon series since Diamond and Pearl, which in a way is pretty neat. I think Horizons right now suits an episodic adventure format. After all, they literally travel around the world in a damn airship. They have countless characters who all need fleshing out and focus. So I think if done right, Horizons can give us some great moments and wholesome episodes. But after this, we're pretty much waiting for Winds and Waves. With no release date yet, most are predicting a late 2027 release, which would mean we have a hell of a long time with Horizons, unless they decide to take a huge break. So an Ash return is probably still not on the cards for quite a while. Even if Ash was to return in a Gen 10 anime, we're probably looking at another 2 years at least. I think the future of the anime really depends on what Winds and Waves is and what they decide to do. If they just do the same as Horizons and go for a straight up reset again, new characters, new story, nothing connecting back to the old ones, then the chance of Ash returning is very low. I think what most of us hope for, other than fun stories, is that this world can feel lived in and connected. I still hold out hope that Horizons can somehow link back to the Ashverse and we can start to see older characters show up again. Obviously, as long as they're all respected and done right. We've seen only Steven Stone and we're not even sure if it's the same dude that Ash beat in the PWC or not. So this next arc in Horizons is also pretty big. But from what we can see, it just seems to be them doing their own thing still, bringing in some elements from Legends EA. We even get teased Ivor and his Mega Phalanx in the opening, which is super hype. But they seem to be drawing from other elements like Pokemon Go and Unite, so it does unfortunately seem like they are moving further and further away from the Ash anime that we all loved. So how exactly does Ash return? Well, there's a few ways we could see our boy on screens again. Firstly, we could get another Pokemon movie. I think when big characters retire, the best and biggest way is to usually bring them back through a movie. I think of both of the Yu-Gi-Oh movies we got where we hadn't seen Yugi or Atem for ages, and they have these huge returns. This could be the same for Ash, and I wouldn't be against it. He could turn up as the Pokemon World Champion. But I would like to see a continuation of his story and not this new Ash or a different universe Ash. Another option is just to have Ash return in the main anime down the line, and the statement I see the most regarding Ash's return is, Ash already had his time in the spotlight, let new characters have theirs, which is absolutely valid, but Ash returning doesn't mean other characters don't get to shine too. Why can't we have the best of both worlds? If Ash was to return to the Pokemon anime, he wouldn't be the main character, he wouldn't magically just become the sole focus again. Instead, I would have Ash return as a mentor-like figure, just a recurring background character who can appear and guide new trainers.
It's incredible! I love it! Wouldn't it be cool to learn how to use it better? Pika! How about you do some special training with us?
So here's what my ideal Winds and Waves anime would look like, obviously depending on the games. If there is gyms, we could see a brand new main character starting out, picking up his starter, and we could follow his footsteps as he grows, much like we did with Ash. But this time he'll be doing the gym challenge again. We're going to be going back to gym challenges for the first time since X and Y. Going back to the basics, we're making the Pokemon anime about competitive battling once again where it belongs. I have enjoyed seeing the progression of Liko and Roy. I especially enjoyed it at first when they were very slowly gaining battle experience, but I do think their progress went from really slow to really quick in no time at all. I guess they had to grow quicker to defeat the threat that was the Explorers, whereas Ash wasn't really in a rush to do that. I mean, the dude spent most of his time destroying Team Rocket. But Ash's progression was very slow, but at the same time it felt way more balanced than what we got with Liko and Roy. So if we are to get a new trainer, I want to see some growth. I want to see failure and learning from them failures like we did with Ash. You need to let them have time to develop as a trainer and eventually become stronger. And that is where Ash comes in. Can you imagine an older Ash, maybe a few years under his belt as world champion, and this is where he returns, he becomes a mentor-like figure for these new characters. we see him take from everything he's learned on his journey and inspire the next generation. I think that would fit Ash's character perfectly, and that would be the best way to implement his return. Not as a main character again, but as a mentor and a leader. Who better to learn from than the world champion himself? I don't know how it would work. They would need to somehow tie everything back into the PWC, but just think of the possibilities of another trainer rising through the ranks, doing the gym challenge, competing in the Pokemon League, and then maybe one day down the line competing in the Pokemon World Championship to follow in Ash's footsteps. And if we got glimpses of Ash throughout the series to push this new trainer forward, almost similar to how Ash used to bump into the Elite Four members and champions who would also inspire and help him, the roles could be reversed. It would just be very cool to get Ash in this situation. And if you want to get real crazy with it, you can even have Ash mirroring red like the thumbnail, stood atop Mount Silver awaiting the challenge of this new up and coming trainer. And I haven't even mentioned the opportunity they could have to fix some of the problems with the end of journeys. We could finally see Ash using his old Pokemon in battle, see this man in his peak dominating the competition, the likes of Charizard, Sceptile, Infernape all taking centre stage, the return of Greninja. All of Ash's powerhouses across the regions could be shown off again as he remains the world champion. I've always thought there could be more done with the world of Elite Four members and champions. The Pokemon World Championship was a great idea on paper, but I don't think it fully got to establish itself and fulfill its potential. It could have been a yearly event. We could have seen it in every series. Imagine Horizons randomly had Freed watching TV and you see some PWC battles on the TV. It would just make the world feel more lived in, like an annual in real world sporting event. Exactly how Pokemon battling should be in this world.
Featuring the top ranked Masters 8, it determines the top Pokemon trainer, making it the greatest tournament on the planet.
As much as I've loved Horizons, I feel the battling side of things has left a gaping hole. Sure, we've had some epic battles, but we lack that competitive edge. We lack the thrill of getting drawn against your toughest rival in a huge tournament. It would just be nice to get back to all of that. It's all there for them if they wanted to bring back the PWC, bring back Ash as a defending champion, and let these characters and this world progress and move on. So I think Ash's return will come someday. There is too much potential not to have all of these iconic characters back. It's true, Ash has had his day, he's had his time in the spotlight, but bringing him back in the mentor role, guiding the next generation, would be a perfect way for Ash to return.